Okay, yes. So this video, I wanted to talk about my experiences with hypergamy in Europe versus the US. And these are just my experiences. I'm not trying to say every experience is going to be like this. These are just the things I noticed. Now, with being in Prague, I'm in Prague, and I lived in other small villages outside of Prague too. And I travel to other ones. I travel to villages in other countries here, like in Poland and Germany. And like I would go back to bigger cities, and there were common things that I would notice about the women. Now, don't make any mistake. Hypergamy is real. Okay, that is real. And some men will say, "Oh, you're just hurt." Blah blah blah. Like, no, like when you travel around and you see consistent traits in women, like hypergamy is real, bro. Like and see the thing, see, women are just women, so they can't really see it, and a lot of times they don't really even want. If they can see it, they don't want to say it out loud because it just sounds horrible what they do, but they can't help it. You see, like it's just their nature to be like this. But from what I noticed, okay, me being in Prague now, right? Is the hypergamy is a bit different. It comes out, and I mean, the core of it's all the same. The hypergamy is going to, once a woman finds out you have some money, they're going to be after you, okay? Or if she could do the math and figure you either have money, or maybe you don't have a lot of money, but you're stable. You know, you can put up a stable lifestyle for her, and that lifestyle is better than whatever she can come up with. Then they're going to be after you. It's just the reality of it. But with me being in Prague, one thing I noticed is here it may be even okay, it may be slightly awkward, but okay, for instance, let's say if you live in Prague, the capital of Czech Republic. If you live in Prague and you let's say you work at T-Mobile and like a basic T-Mobile employee in Prague, and you don't make a lot of money. You know, you're working at T-Mobile as a customer service person, like in the mall type of thing. Here amongst the women here, you are worth more working in T-Mobile in Prague than you would be living in a small village with your own house and working and well, how it works here, you probably make about the same money. But you see what I'm saying? Like here is like the capital makes you worth more to them. Perfect example. I knew one girl. This was right before she hooked up with the buddy of mine. She would go. This is when I was living in a small village, about hour and a half hour and a half northeast of Prague. She's a pretty girl. She would go on dating websites, and she found a guy who lived in Prague, and they were talking, and so she said, "I want to come visit you." And so she caught a bus from this small village, about almost 2 hour drive down all the way to Prague. Now, on the way down to Prague, the guy, comes clean and says, "Look, I live with my parents. I don't have a job. I'm pretty much a bum." So the girl's she's already on her way. So she has to just keep going and meet the guy. And she even still tried to make it work with him. And I'm telling you, the only reason, and the dude was like 30 and she was like 20. And the only reason I'm telling you, because the culture of the women here, the only reason why she tried to make it work with him was because he was in Prague, you see. Because to a woman in this culture, from my experiences, what that does for the woman is, okay, it's going to be a win anyway for the woman. Okay, because if she gets here, let's say you don't have a job or your own place or anything, you live in your mother's basement. Well, there's a chance that you can go out there and just get a job, and then next thing you know, she's living this perfect lifestyle with her man who's working in Prague, and she could tell all her friends, "Yeah, my man works in Prague," blah blah blah. And if that never works out, well, she's still in the vicinity of Prague, so she could just monkey branch. She could monkey branch to that next better guy while she's just here, having sex with you, just to keep you happy and keep a roof for when she does come to Prague, type of thing. Now, the same thing, it can happen in the U.S., but in the U.S., it's also a bit different with that. Like women don't I mean, it totally happens, but I don't think it happens at anywhere near the same rate of women who are impressed because a guy, because a guy, let's say he lives in New York City. A woman's not going to be like, let's say like a woman in Ohio is not going to really be like too caught up over a guy who lives in New York City. And it's really because of different reasons. It's not because the man, it's not for the same reasons like you would think that could happen from this scenario of Europe. In the US, it's more along the lines of, like I said before in previous videos, see, in America, most women are just fat, disgusting slobs, or they're dirty, or most women are not anywhere near the same level of the women in Europe. In America, it's bizarro world. Like they're all just gross. But see, the thing is, in America, when you get to real cities like New York City, Los Angeles, well, you'll catch on real fast that women will adjust their attitude and their physical attractive manipulation skills depending on how much money they think is in the room. So when you get to like New York City and Los Angeles, you're going to start seeing a whole lot better looking women. Or if you just get anywhere that has a lot more money, you're going to start seeing a whole lot better looking women. This is usually how you can tell, let's say like when a restaurant is going out of business, or like, their business is slacking, or it's probably a low quality restaurant, is when they don't have beautiful women working in there. That's usually a clear, I've learned through my experiences, that's usually how you can tell when there's not much money going anywhere, is because there's a lot more uglier women in there. That's just my experience with it. It's what I've learned over time. It may not be true every single time, but for the most part, it usually holds up. Like in lawyers and doctors' offices, look at the receptionist. At gyms, look at the woman working at the front desk at the gym. As a receptionist. And either, okay, if she's not a good looking girl, or she's just a super hard worker, then something's wrong with that place. You don't want nothing to do with it. That's what I found out. I didn't buy this cup. This cup was already in this flat, because here, like, the place has already come furnished, and this dude had these cups with like naked women inside of it. I didn't buy. I swear, I'll tell you if I bought it, but I didn't buy it. But I broke the other one. I dropped it off the table. It just shattered in a million pieces. But yeah. See, because okay, now back to the topic. See, in the U.S., women are not impressed so much when a guy is in New York City, because see, and the reason why they aren't impressed. Okay, I'll say this: they'll see it as more admirable than anything, especially if she already knows the reality. Which the reality of it is, women in places in real slaves. See, women know other women's nature. So they know if they're in New York City, there must be more money in New York City. Then that must mean the women are looking better in New York City, which also means I may not be able to keep up there. So I don't want to go to New York City. That's how it works in a woman's brain. That's what she hears and sees. Now in Europe, we don't like in Europe here, that same issue of obesity and poor makeup jobs and poor hairstyle, they don't have those problems here. Because see, here they put more effort into art here. Like art is not an elective. I don't know if you may know, but in America, you can say in high school, you could take, where I went to high school at, let's say like, okay, art would be considered an elective course, meaning like you didn't really need it. You just wanted to take it. And you had like, maybe a handful of classes you had to take that were electives before you graduated. And art was an elective. You could take art, you could take French, you could take, Spanish, you could take, sculpting, whatever side thing. And art for us in America is completely an elective. So that's why you don't see many. That's why when you travel to America and you walk up down the street, you won't see very many women put a lot of effort into themselves, because that's art. We don't value art in America. Whereas, like, say, here in Europe, they have much more of a respect for art. If it's like dressing up a restaurant or dressing themselves up, or putting up artistic lighting or sculptures outside the restaurant. See, like they keep statues for thousands of years. Like they do that. Like we don't do that. So here, Okay, so the difference is like, so let's say, okay, in comparison, it's like in America, when a woman like lives in, let's say, like Missouri, she doesn't want to go to Los Angeles, okay, because she has to deal with that higher echelon of women and dressing and maintenance. Whereas, see, like in Europe, it's not anywhere near that big of a jarring shift for them. So they're like, down, yeah, okay, I'll come to prom. You see what I'm saying? Like they're more down because like they value, and then also they're not eating McDonald's. I mean, there are some who are eating McDonald's every day, but they're not eating McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken and booze every day. They're not doing it. So their bodies are in much better shape on average. So they can just hop up and hop that hypergamy train on down to the city's capital to see if she can keep on raising that hypergamy even higher. You see, now in America, what tends to happen is, and like a moderately cute woman, she will find some city or area to sit down in where guys are paying her all this attention, and she'll just stay there. You see, she's not moving out anywhere unless she has to. She's not going any further than that zip code. I still know a bunch of girls who I went to high school with. I'm from the U.S. and I know a bunch of girls from America I went to high school with. They are still in their same zip code because they could win there. You see, the woman's like, that's just part of woman's nature. She wants to go. Women don't like challenge. They don't like it. They hate it. They hate challenge, especially challenge from a woman who's prettier than them. Because I'm going to say at least 90% of the reason why a woman does not consider suicide is because she found where she can be pretty at or get attention at. Because I just read a story earlier today. This girl's name, Rachel Gal. It's like a 4-year-old story. She committed suicide because she was afraid. She was turning 30 and wasn't married and had no kids. And to be honest with you, and to be real about it, a whole lot of women would have ended up doing the same thing if they didn't just grasp onto that last, beta man who would just give them whatever they wanted. Because see, that's a part of women's mental health. See, because I work in the field of mental health, so I know. It's like when I'm saying these things, like it's coming from like working with clients. You see what I'm saying? And hearing what they don't want people to know about them. See, so like a part of women's mental health that should really be shown on the world is that, see, women need, like, they need validation, like, to survive. Like, validation is equivalent to needing water for them. Like, they are not like men. I don't care how hard they try to fight it, how hard they try to prove to you they can do just as much as a man can. No, like, see, men, see, that is the core difference. Men would like validation. You see what I'm saying? We would like it, but we're not considering suicide if we don't get it. It just kind of sucks, and then we're just kind of mad, like, oh, they always pay John attention and not me. We will do that, but we don't consider like self-harm. You see what I'm saying? We don't consider I mean, it happens. There are anomalies, but for the most part, we don't consider suicide. No, let me tell you something. From being in the mental health field for now, I'm throwing 33, but for 5 years now, women will begin to consider suicide if they are not getting validation. You see, Instagram and Facebook is just boosting the awareness of it for those men who can read between the lines of it. But like that, like it, like when when you really get in a woman's mind, in women's mind, you hear them talk, like it's really all the same thing, man. Like they crave that validation. Like it's just a part of their being. But like back to the original topic, the hypergamy or hypergamy, however you want to say it, it doesn't matter where you are on a planet. It's just woman's nature. But now, okay, another difference is the competition here with hypergamy. Because see, in Europe, okay, like I said a million times before, I live in Czech Republic. So I live in the heart of Europe where, see, there's Lithuanian girls, German girls, Italian girls, Swedish girls, Romanian girls, Slovakian girls, Slovenian girls, Belgian girls, Belgium, Belgian girls. I don't know how you say it. Girls from Belarus. They're like you have just a constant. See, in Europe, women are constantly being bombarded with more competition because like they're getting women from these different countries that know 2 and 3 different languages, and they've learned things from this country and brought over here. Now they're the sexy one. Now the women are trying to catch up with that. See, there's so much more competition in Europe. There's just so for women, there is just so much more competition for in Europe for women. Now for men, there's much more. If you know English in Europe, for men, there's much more possibilities for us. But for women, and for what women are biologically made to be and do, there's much more competition. So their game has to be much better as far as walking down the street and looking at them. You see, like they have to keep going. Where see in America, it's different because everybody's just pretty much most people are just either going to be black, white, Spanish, a little bit Asian, and then mixed amongst that. But for the most part, most people are going to be white and black in America. In most areas, that's going to be 90% of the population, white or black. So like they don't have, and then they all speak English, and they all grew up on the same street corners. So in America, the women, they don't have that same level of competition. So they were allowed to just let go and get fat and gross. And then men just kind of like accept it and because they still just want pussy in the end. And so this is how you get the women you end up with. But see, now their hypergamy, it kicks in, but since at this point they've been so spoiled and then they've raised their offspring to be spoiled, these women don't know how to keep up with like the higher tier woman. Let's say like the women in New York City or Los Angeles that has a lot of tourism. See, that's another thing. See, it's usually places that have a lot of more tourism is where the level of woman goes up also. Because I see that tourism, because those women are seeing those other women as like, oh, I got to compete with that. So now I got to raise myself. See, like places that have a lot of tourism or just or just that like a lot of visitors, like those places are usually those places in combination with also, bringing more money in. Women have to raise their for what they're valuable for up. And it's just the reality of it. Women are valuable for their look. Initially, walking down the street, they're valued solely because of what they look like. And men too, but for different reasons. Men are valued because they look like they can offer something. You see what I'm saying? It's just, both sides are judging each other by how they look. It's just that women get more attention for being, get more sympathy for being judged off their genetic capabilities. But they're judging men probably 10 times harder based off of the clothes he's wearing and how he's walking, talking, speaking in the car he's driving. But yeah, but the hypergamy with that, man, like, see, and here, like, okay, here, you will have a much better chance with being a more relatively average guy and then getting like a hot girlfriend in Europe. Because there's just so many more factors in the competition with it. Like now, I've never been to Russia, but I heard Russia is big for that too. Because I heard there's more women than there are men there. So like the whole dynamic is flipped. Like the whole thing is flipped. Like pretty much, if you're gonna have a girlfriend, like your girlfriend is gonna be, it's snowing. If you're gonna have a girlfriend, like you're probably gonna have a hot girlfriend. It's okay, like because I had a Russian girlfriend when I was younger. Every Russian girl I ever knew was either like smoking hot or a piece of junk. It was never like average. Like, and if I had to guess, it's probably from the rumors I heard and the friends of mine who, like one buddy of mine, he's in Russia right now with his girlfriend's family. It's about 2 hours. I think it's like a 2-hour plane flight away in Moscow. And from what I hear, like they have, so I mean, if anybody watches this, if you're Russian or if you know somebody's Russian, like, I mean, educate me, tell me something that I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I'm just going off of what I heard. And the one Russian girlfriend I had when I was like, I think maybe like 19 or 20, her name was Allah. I don't know how you pronounce it. Because one woman, she told me a difference because one of them is like saying God and the other one is a very common name in Russian. Her name was Allah, I think. But yeah, if you're Russian or you know somebody's Russian, like educate me. Feel free. No, what I want to make clear is this: if anybody's even watching this long, I want to make clear is this: if I ever say something that you don't agree with, or or you can give me more insight on it or anything like that, please let me know. Because it's not my, like, I don't think I know everything. I'm just telling you things from my perspective. And I'm always willing to learn more stuff. So like, please, if you feel like, if anybody has made it this far in the video and you don't agree with something I say, like educate me, enlighten me, please.